To be happy in life, develop at least four hobbies. One to bring you money, one to keep you healthy, one to bring you joy, and one to bring you peace. Hey all, another session with Brother from Another Life, and this was a quote by Stan Jacobs. And really powerful quote, I think, but I want to already hand over to you, Nature Call. What do you think about that quote?
I'm always the lucky one who is picked to choose the start of thing. I think it's a really interesting take on how to look at the four hobbies. I think money is a good idea to bring in this world. We don't have money that kind of grows on trees. We all wish it did, or it magically appeared itself in our pockets when we need it the most. Poopy had would agree on that more. Multiple times we have felt the pain at each other's credit cards. Unlike Mr. Porta Potty, he is.
I still believe I win in lottery one day. It will be.
Uh, I wish you do, for the sake of you and us, but just for the people to know, Porta Potty is probably doing the best between us. And then we have Mr. who looks like a developer but is not a developer, Mr. Poopy Head, and then you can tell who is where, right? Uh, but jumping back into it, I think it is. It would be fun also to bring in money as investment or like doing stocks trading, crypto. You can think of different ways of like strategies, and it's just like exciting. I think everything in life, whatever we like to try, is like a strategy. We try and analyze life, what there is out there to be, and then just see whether our way works or some other way works. But yeah, I think I can see my life being divided, or my hobbies are being divided, which is a distraction from the serious life of work and other things that we have to take care of, family and relationships and so forth. So investment was one. What were the other three you had mentioned?
Healthy is the second one.
Oh, healthy is very important hobby. I think as guys, we all love sports. So I I think between the three of us, it's a common thing that we all have. We play volleyball, and we all love it. It's also healthy. We also play pranks on each other. There are a few things I can't say, but I know what everybody knows the time that we're talking about. I troubled him a lot when I was new to him. Um, and So yeah, volleyball is good. Running's nice, but as we're kind of getting lazier, we like to play volleyball and then or beach volleyball. I can't say it properly, I think, and drink beers. So both are sport activities for us. Um, Definitely, porta potty can outdrink us, um, but and then comes Mr. Poopy Head. He's very good. Don't let his face, he just loses weight too quickly.
Exactly. I deceive people.
Yeah.
I cannot handle alcohol. You're the wrong.
Yeah. All right. Let's not go there. Who's Mr.
Don't go
European?
there. Don't
Anyway,
go there. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm the oldest of
he-
you guys. So
he's not
yeah,
22. He's 23, guys. Okay.
yeah.
Wow, no way. It makes a big difference.
It does. It does.
This is coming from somebody who's the youngest out of us. But
Exactly.
But let me ask you, Poopy Hat, do you agree like you need kind of a healthy and money wise and joy, and what's the other one was peace hobby? Do you have those four hobbies if you
Jeez.
look into your life?
So it's investment, healthy, money, and peace. Looks like.
No, investment and money is the same. Joy,
yeah.
joy,
Oh, joy.
peace, healthy, and
Um,
money.
I think it will depend on everybody. I don't think that's necessarily true for most people. I think maybe those hobbies are just chosen as like a to be like a well-rounded person, but I think it's not going to be the same for everyone. I think a lot of my hobbies they don't really have much to do with, let's say, maybe money is a good example. Like I think money is probably the least applicable I can't even say it, but applicable to my hobbies because I think a lot of the hobbies that I have in my free time, like volleyball, um, doesn't really get me money. If anything, I'm actually using money to enjoy my time at volleyball, to be able to attend events, which gives me, you know, um, the other factors, which is investing time. I'm investing a lot of time into volleyball because it makes me healthy and it also clears my mind. Kind of just take off the daily stress that us go through every day. Just to be like, hey, did my 9 to 5. Now I can go to volleyball and just enjoy my time, relax, and just have fun. So I think it doesn't necessarily apply for everybody. I think for me, it probably applies to money the least. But I think everything else, it's like there's some similarity or application to my hobbies.
How about you, Mr. Porta Potty?
I didn't know that quote before, so it's kind of interesting to when I
Okay.
talking now to also reflect at the same time. I mean, money, you believe it or not, I'm really bad with handling money. I think I spend way too much that I should. So, I mean, I'm playing around with some certain stuff, but it doesn't really get me money a lot. But I mean, it's also, I don't know. For me, money, of course, we need money, obviously, and certain, I think having money makes life more convenient, I would say. Not happier, but more convenient. I think it's easier sometimes if you have money. But I don't think money is a driver for me to be happy. So for me, really, that's a big difference. And I think I try to push myself more, especially in the joy area. I mean, I really enjoy doing that podcast. I enjoy volleyball. Um, I enjoy writing on my book, things like that. When it comes to the peace factor, I think many people could really say I should do more there. Because sometimes I should meditate more. I think it's not a big deal to do it, and I think it helps a lot, but I'm really bad in that. So this is really something I need to become better, especially if you have stressful days like today and effort, and you have situation like they bring you out of the like in a zone where you cannot handle it anymore, like everything goes wrong and you get to that stress level. And I think if you have more this inner calmness, I think you can handle situation way better. So I think this is for sure. When I look at my hobbies, what I'm doing at the moment, I think the peace thing can be better. And I don't know people who really do that. I really see they look at things differently. They say like, okay, first I breathe and then I can handle the situation. So yeah, that's a bit how I see it with my
Do you think
hobbies.
meditation is the only way that you could get the peace, or you could even get peace while you're playing sports or trying different activities, just to let go all the energy that you faced at work or other places, and you can just be one with yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think running or just walking is also like going nature can also bring the peace, I would say, or really doing something which you really can focus on something, I guess. I haven't really found my peace hobby. I mean, I do running, but for me, running is more an exercise because my uh, condition is sometimes, yeah. For other people, it looks so easy. For me, it takes a while, right? For me, it's more sport. It's for me more healthy thing than. But I think just going out for a walk, like here, Central Park, maybe in New York City, can already, or just reading a book. I mean, I started now reading a book. I think that can already be helpful. If, yeah.
How about you, Mr. Poopyhead?
Well, I said my thoughts on how like a hobby of mine, volleyball, is. I think it kind of relates well to investment, healthiness, healthiness, joy, and peace, but not so much in the money part aspect of it.
Okay.
Um,
Now, I was curious, like, when we talk about, like, we break it down to, let's say, meditation or like the peace side, right? Is it just what would that be for you? Would that be like for Potapati, it's running, and he said he's super coordinated like the rest of us. So, what is it for you would be peaceful?
what would be peaceful, like a peaceful activity?
Yeah.
I would say anything physical exercise would be good, like running, walking, volleyball, something active, something sporty, because I think it really brings a lot of distractions to things that we have in our lives. Like I think when I'm working on like a physical activity or a sport activity, I think it just takes my mind off of everything else that I have in my mind. And I'm just focused on just being there, being present, and enjoying my time.
That's interesting. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Porta potty?
So
Somebody
yeah, I
said
mean,
something.
I just thought when you was talking, I was like thinking about hobbies. Like hobbies can also be, I mean, because there's so much out there, right? And I think a lot of people, including me, we only do what we know often. So I can give you an example because what I'm trying to do sometimes be more curious, but it's not easy. Trust me, it's really not easy. But try maybe something you never would expect you would do, because we have a kind because we grew up and kind of we often do similar things like our friends doing, maybe our parents did, right? Like as an example, my dad, he played soccer, so obviously I was interested in soccer, and and then sometimes you get in this really unusual hobbies. Like you hear sometimes people saying about, well, I do, I don't know, fenting. I think that's the English
Mm,
word, right? Like
yeah.
how you get into that, right? And you often hear like, yeah, because my brother did it or my dad, right? But like I would say, like as you grow up as a kid, I don't know really if I go now in fenting. It's not like some like of a usual sport you pick. But I think it's really interesting, and I think pushing like try something new, a hobby is also really healthy to push yourself out of the comfort zone and grow. So I think hobbies are really important also for growing perspective, and also you never know, maybe you can find really great people and build friendship, right? And for me, I mean, I know in America cheerleading is a big thing, right? As an example,
Yes.
in Switzerland, not at all, not at all. I mean, it's really really small. And one of my friend, he competed in the national team for Switzerland for cheerleading, partner stunt, right?
Wow.
And I was first smiling when I heard that, right? Like cheerleading, huh? And then he showed me what that means. It's really like you need a lot of power, you need strength, you need coordination, balance, and it's really tough. And just I never wanted to do it like professionally, but just for joy, I joined, and I learned so much new stuff, like new terms which I didn't know, like what does it mean, like techniques which you can also use maybe in other sports. So I think curiosity is really important, especially in hobbies, to really grow, and you never know what you learn and find out. I think that's why I think hobbies are so cool, right?
Yeah, hobbies are really fun. I feel like sometimes because we don't know of a certain hobby, we have, I won't say it'll be ignorance, but just as when you do not know what anything entails, you could be like, well, that doesn't sound fun, or I would not like to try it. But I know what you're talking about. I had a friend who actually was in cheerleading, just in the States, and the lifts that he did, I saw him do practice once, and I was like, this is not easy. Like, it looks really easy when they lift the girls up and they're in midair, but one hand, he's got one girl, one another. I'm just like, how do you do this? This is crazy. And we did it once,
Yeah.
and I had one somebody standing on, I didn't even know there's areas like right hip, bone, left hip, and I had two here, I had one on my shoulder, and I had three guys holding on to me. Probably scared, but the girls were gonna fall. I didn't really. I'm such a big target, but it was fun and scary at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you when it comes to the curiosity factor. Like, never played beach volleyball growing up, never even knew about that sport. Um, I've grown up around hockey and playing cricket, and there's a lot of like wrestling. Those are what I'm used to. And then coming to the States, I was like, why don't we try hobbies that everyone talks about but I have zero clue about? Did not know anything about video games, but thanks to a very good friend of mine till today, I know a lot about video games thanks to him. I know the differences between the Xbox, PlayStation, GameCube. I was like that guy who would just be like, wait, don't we just play video games with all this? Why are there so many things? Sega. And I got to learn from him. And I was like, oh, now I can join the conversation. When somebody talks, I can actually stay in the same place what they're talking. Earlier, I'm like, we're still talking video games, right? And I'm like, yeah. And then they were like, Fadden, want to play football? And I'm like, feel like the world is opening up. And then this year, I had the same thing when it happened with Comic Con. I I went to the one in San Diego, but I got to experience the one in New York, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. There's so much I don't understand, and everybody's super sweet. They're basically teaching me on the spot, telling me what to do, being a beginner, and I was like, thank you. Like, just I don't know their names, I don't know who they are. I just know random guys and girls helping me go that way. Do
Yeah.
this, pick this up. And then I'm Googling it later to understand what they are. Um, so I think hobbies, when we're talking about the quotation, I think for me, hobby is just something, like you had said, getting out of my comfort zone and teaching me something new about my own self. I had certain sports, or you could say even creativity or dancing, where somebody told me for how big I am, I nobody will of such a height can dance, and that it's funny that drove me. I was like, no, why not? And I was like, let's do this. And then to become a collegiate level dancer, well, I started dancing. I realized you get money if you win, so there was a monetary advantage of winning. So I started winning because I was like, ooh, this pays well, being a student. So yeah, it's just interesting how that all plays an effect. But I didn't mean to derail our conversation.
Not at all. No derailment.
But tell me
But I
this. Go ahead, Pupiet.
no, I was just gonna add on. Yes, it does. Having hobbies, especially if you try new and even daring hobbies that you're like, oh, I don't think I could ever do it, but let me just try it and see how it goes. I think being able to put yourself out of your comfort zone and try a hobby that you've always wanted to do, but you're like, maybe I'm not ready for it or whatever. I think it's less about asking yourself when you're ready to do it. I think it's more just about just taking the
Yeah.
chance and just roll the dice and just I'll try it out. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. But at least I got the exposure to do it and had the opportunity to be able to try it because I feel like life is so short. We never really know what's going to happen the next day or the following week.
Mm.
So I feel like if the opportunity is there, just take it, seize the moment, seize the opportunity because you never know what's going to be coming along the door tomorrow. And to be able to put yourself in a position to where you can actually try this new hobby and maybe depending on what the hobby is, maybe you'll meet some people that you're like, oh wow, I didn't know he was also just like me in the same boat. But he tried it out for a while, and this is who he is now. It's actually a good perspective because you're able to relate to somebody who was in the same position that you were in, and this is what has changed for him when he was there for this amount of time. So you're also like, oh, okay, if he's become this person who maybe I admire or respect, you know, maybe there's a chance for me too to maybe not necessarily become like him, but maybe to be able to grow and prosper in this new hobby, which will give you those benefits and let's say healthiness, joy, and peace. So that's my take on trying hobbies that really push you out of your comfort zone.
That's actually a really good way of looking at it. Like, I also really appreciate just the two of you being available for the podcast. Like, you both have very busy lives. Both of you have. Um, and just for the people who are listening, the reason why we have some excitement or noise in the back is because one of us is having a party at the place. If you
Is
do
it
not
that
know
loud?
who that is, and he literally stepped out in a different room to do this podcast session with us, and then he's going to go back to his drinks and his friends. Um, Not saying we're invited. One has been working too long, and one has family visiting, so we don't have cannot get there. But it also shows a lot on both of your sides because this was just a project that I just raised up, and I was like, why don't we do this? And being so new to this space, you both have been kind enough to just join and openly share what you guys thought. And we're actually all learning through this podcast all together. So it's a great experience. It's a project. It's also a hobby. It might just become one. So we're all in a new space, figuring life out and seeing how we're going about it. This literally was created over a round of beers. So, you know, and we all love to travel. We have this heart of traveling, and only reason Poopy had you were not in the call is because you were traveling. Otherwise, you would. And I told as soon as I told you about the podcast, you were like, "Let's do it. This is going to be fun," you know. And I was like, "I'm probably gonna get to hear other things and other times," but it's a lot to it's not only growing understanding our own selves but also learning such good points have been raised up about not only outside the comfort zone but the curiosity factor or learning new things of how to figure your own self. And I think I could go on and on, but I'm going to let somebody else speak. I've talked a lot.
So I have prepared something small, and I will want to do a quick round. So I have three questions to each of us, and I want to have short answers
Give it to Poopy head first.
spontaneously.
I'll be short.
Don't think too much. There's no wrong and right. Just spontaneously what comes through your mind. And okay, first question: what is your next hobby you want to try?
For me, it would be probably cinematography more. I mean, I've been dabbling in it a lot, but I think I would really love to know the techniques more. Like to be able to use professional cameras, and kind of learn like the filmmaking techniques and skills that makes a lot of these cinematographers be able to produce such a well crafted video, and also work on like storytelling. I think storytelling is a key part of it because even with movies and shows, maybe I might be dabbling on at this point, but maybe movies and shows that may not have the necessarily the best video quality, the storytelling is just so great that you could look back at shows, in the 50s or 60s with grainy video images, but they just tell such a great story that they've been readapted over the years into, a newer form and stuff like that. So being able to have a strong uh, method of being able to tell stories, I think, is very important. So that's my take.
That's pretty good. For me, it is. I'm a foodie. I love eating. Uh, as Poopy Head knows me really well, I eat a lot and I drink tons of coffee. At weird hours, drink coffee at 10, 11 p.m. Happily. So for me, I'm trying to figure out how to be a bit healthier. So um, figuring out how to create dishes which I can still enjoy while being healthy and losing weight. And at the same time, doing a lot of video editing of starting this and a different YouTube channel that I just started about a week back that we were discussing, and learning how to edit shorts and movies better. So those are the two that I'm actively just started working on about a week ago. How about you?
So I started writing a book, so I want to become better in writing style, right? What does it mean in a book dynamics? Also, storytelling is really important there, so I want to become better. How do you write that you can catch the attention of the reader? And the second one, something really out of the box. is maybe something like Thai boxing or something. It's a good training. It's
Okay.
also good defending thing. I think that's getting more and more important in that world, to be honest, which is really sad, but unfortunately, it's the truth. So I think in that area, it's also something I'm interested in.
So we can hide behind you. So when somebody is about to write,
Exactly.
and right,
Exactly.
Poopy Head would agree. Um, Poopy Head is probably one of the strongest ones we have right now based on his body mass index. Uh,
So
sorry,
shaking
I
it.
couldn't pull it back. He's the lightest out
Show
of
the
all of us.
muscles.
There's a reason. He is the lightest out of all of us. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I do want to get into also crypto and investing. So I'm gonna definitely look
Mm.
into with the market being so volatile. I think it's exciting to look into and just dabble with a bit of green. So we'll look into that.
All right.
But
All right, second round. What is, in your view, the most unusual hobby you did so far?
Unusual?
The most unusual hobby that you did so far, in your
Oh,
view?
unusual.
There's no.
unusual hobby.
That's hard.
I know.
Unusual. I don't know.
I think for me would be dancing because I've done rugby, I've done wrestling. I was on left side of the pendulum, and then I went from hitting people to being like, "Hi there, would you like to dance?" It was very different. I got made fun of by my rugby and my wrestling friends because I had to be gentle and sweet and be like, "Would you like to dance?" From when like, "Come here, let me hit you." So I think that was the most unusual and weird thing that I did for a few years.
All right.
Onto you, poopy head.
I am not exactly sure what unusual hobbies I've dabbled into. I don't know if I'm able to pass on this question, but I feel like it's gonna
Pass.
take me some time.
Why didn't you take time
Yeah,
and porta potty pick this? All right, porta potty, you're putting us on freaking
Okay.
all the time on the spot.
bring it back to me
Yeah, okay, I'll
afterwards.
bring it back to you after. Interesting, because I think um, one thing would be Kraft Maga, which I tried, which I was back then really new kind of way to like self defending, which was interesting to see. And the second one, which I still doing, which I really enjoy, which I don't think many people do, which I can highly recommend, is kite surfing. I love kite surfing. I'm
Wow.
not I'm not saying I'm good in it. I'm still between beginner and advanced, but it's really a great sport. I love it. I love water, and it's really. I did normal surfing. I tried normal surfing. For me personally, no offense out there, but I think kite surfing is for me more exciting because you don't have to wait all the time, and it's less. It's less. I mean, normal surfing, it's a lot of work, right? Paddling out there. Kite
Yeah.
surfing is more relaxing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And interesting that you say kite surfing is relaxing. I've seen it.
Well, if you know what you're doing, it's relaxing. As a beginner, it's hard. It's you
Exactly.
fell down a lot. You can hurt yourself. It's a lot.
If you can take
Yeah,
poopy head with you
yeah.
on the kite surfing, I will happily take a video of you from the ground.
From a distance.
Yeah, from a huge distance.
Yeah.
Or I could do this for you guys. Like this is something I love doing. I don't think it's unusual. I like to do. I used to do a lot of scuba diving. I'm not doing that much scuba diving anymore. But just my last trip, I did. I like to do underwater cave diving. So I do that for fun. So I don't mind doing snorkeling or underwater cave diving. I still do underwater cave diving. It's fun for me. Um, but I could do that while you guys are kite surfing on top of me. I think that'd be beautiful. But I don't think it's unusual. It's just something I enjoy. I like to see fishes and sometimes catch lobsters um, and take them up and then eat them. So they're fresh.
That's a
I
good
can't help
hobby
it.
if you can eat after something.
Yeah, meaning I like
Mm,
fish. So
okay.
and I like lobsters. We got like a cage of lobsters last time when we were in California, and we had enough food for 9 of us. Yummy, yummy blue lobsters.
Okay.
So it was really, really. I think it was blue or I don't remember. It's been a while,
Okay.
but it was a good
All
thing. But back to you, Poopy Head.
Yeah, it is back to me. I don't think it's an unusual activity, but maybe language exchanging. So, like being able to go to events where I can be able to exchange languages and be able to learn a little bit about their language, their culture, their heritage, values. I think that's something I've been dabbling a little bit more in, especially when I travel a lot to other countries. So, like for example, I let's say I went to Japan or something. Being able to be there for a certain period of time, it kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone to still kind of try to speak the language, try to get to know the people there, and really just try to understand the way of living, the culture, the style, and they also get to know a little bit about me as well. I think being able to share, how you are as people, is definitely interesting thing that has helped shape my perspective on how I view life. Because I think whenever I travel, I think travel is something that's not really an unusual activity, but being able to travel to many different places, you really get to see how people interact in that environment, and you can see that, oh, okay, there's more to life than kind of the bubble that you're
right.
stuck in. So let's
Yeah.
say we're here living our 9 to 5 jobs, we're kind of stuck in a bubble because we're just so focused on stuff around us. But when you're able to take like a kind of separate yourself a little bit and you're in a different place for a certain period of time, now your brain has to adjust to that environment now and see like, okay, how do I interact here now? How do I not necessarily fit in, but like how do I interact? How do I survive in this environment? I think it really gives you a different perspective on how you go through life. So that's my
I,
take on it.
I think you definitely hit a nail on the head when it comes to traveling. We all enjoy traveling and connecting with different cultures and learning. And we have somebody who'll be traveling home very soon, and he better be getting cheese and chocolate for us. Not knowing, not naming them. If he doesn't,
Who
he's
could
not.
that be?
You're not welcome back.
Hmm.
We would like go back, bring it, and then come home. Okay, we need to eat. Okay,
Well,
but
I still have my presents for you from my little trip to the Bahamas. I
oh
haven't
yeah,
gave it to
oh
you.
cool.
It's a cool
Yeah,
magnet,
Oh,
so I will
yeah.
give it
I
to you.
requested him. I was like, that's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
it's
We have
here.
well, we're gonna get together for the beers, so
Yes,
we're
exactly.
due for that.
I will
It's
bring it.
it's raining outside. I'm not coming out tonight, so unless you come this way, I'm really down. But I'm not. But one thing I definitely say that Poopy Head has something great that I I would be great if I could learn it someday. Is his He's able to connect really well with people, and he's
Mm.
very welcoming. So even when I was new to Poopy Head and I did not know anybody, he was very welcoming and very easy to connect with. And even when he's traveling, um, at least what I've seen is he's able to pick up languages or the culture very quickly, and he feels quite at ease. Something I don't feel quite at ease with, but he is very quick. So it's kind of fun to see him in action. Porta potty. We've gone to restaurants and he starts talking, and I'm just like, what? I feel like a third party watching reality television, and he's so freaking good. They're just going for it. I'm just like, la la la. When can we order food? I'm hungry. Menu. But it's a really good talent that you have, brother. It's a beautiful talent.
All right, ready for the last question?
Yes.
And by the way, language exchange was the first event I attended here when I moved to New York City. So it's pretty cool. So those who never did that, I really highly
Sorry, never
recommend
did.
it. Yeah, you should do it. You should
you're
do
missing
it.
out.
You're missing
I
out.
have two awesome friends. It's good enough. Okay, how many more do you want?
Last one. Is there any hobby you find really cool, but you would never do it because maybe it's too dangerous or you don't feel comfortable doing it, but you find it's really cool to do it?
What is it called? Paragliding, right? It's like you're on that thing and then you kind of
Yeah,
jump off and you're
yeah.
Fun.
on that.
The triangle
What's it called?
dragon,
Yeah, the
yeah,
triangle
yeah,
thing, paragliding. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, kite,
That's
yeah,
something I've always wanted to try because I actually saw it in my trip to Sweden. There's this guy that was paragliding in a small town called Casabaria, It's like right near Ystad, so it's like in the south of Sweden. And just seeing him like glide throughout the whole small town, and me just walking and hiking, I'm just seeing him every time in my corner. I'm like, huh, he just seems so peaceful and happy in his life. And then there was another guy that joined him right after I left, but I think that's something I want to try because it feels dangerous, but I feel like it feels thrilling to be able to do that because I think that it gives you like a sense of like adrenaline and experience that you would not feel in many other situations, like being up in the sky that high like that and just cruising through and just enjoying the nature, the sounds, like people talking, birds chirping, and just feeling the wind graze your whole body like that. I think it's just a very unparalleled experience that not many other activities would be able to provide you, and that kind of brings me back to like another experience that I had. So I've only skydived once, but I skydived in Hawaii, and that experience was just so impactful and exhilarating for me because especially when you're going on the airplane up there and then you're about to jump off, like the guy, the instructor, he's like strapped onto you because if you're not experienced, you need some guy to be behind you and guide you the way down. So that initial maybe 5-10 minutes of him dragging your legs outside like the steps of the helicopter, and then you just feel the wind like just blowing in your face. You're like, oh god! And then he's like, "You ready?" I'm like, oh, "Well, I don't really have a choice because I signed up for it." And then he doesn't really give you much of a heads up. I mean, there is a little bit of heads up, but once he jumps, that's it. So that jump is where it really started to bring the adrenaline because that first initial impact of just the air hitting your face very forcefully because you're going down at such a high velocity, and then by the time he pushes the strings, and then it brings up the balloon, a parachute, brings up the parachute, and then you feel the
Yeah,
and after that you're just gliding through. That initial impact and also the gliding through part, I think that just brings
hey,
a lot of
I exactly know
like
what you're saying.
clarity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
maybe
did
like
that.
clarity too. You're like, oh, I think
Yeah,
I found the meaning of life or something. It just gives me like a different perspective on
yeah,
being
yeah,
able to be in a different experience that you would never imagine in your entire life that
yeah.
you'd be in. And it's just being able to take that risk and do it. I think it just really makes you a better person. I don't know, but it just gives you a different perspective on life. So that's why I think paragliding would be one hobby I would like to dabble in if ever I make that opportunity too. So
I'm with
We
you. I'm with you with
we
the
have,
skydiving.
yes.
I'm totally because I did it, and I also wanted to say that skydiving because, and I had a similar experience. I was in Australia, early 20s, and to be honest, I was more nervous after the jump than before because after the jump, I kind of realized what the heck I did. I just jumped out of an airplane with a person I never met before in my life, and I survived. And the coolest thing is, you only have one job. At the before the landing, put your legs up. That's the only thing you need to remember. But you
Yeah,
have this adrenaline, or you call it English, adrenaline experience, like the
everyone.
first 20 seconds. And I had a funny guy because I was second in the row, and everybody was preparing. Like you hear the click click, everybody's prepared, but not
Yes.
mine. And I was like, are you doing it? Oh yeah, yeah, we have time. I was like, okay, okay. And then he was moving forward. I was like, yeah, are you doing it? Am I saving me? Oh yeah, yeah, we have time. And it's like, okay, we're ready. Tuck 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 out. And I was like so, and he did it on purpose. I mean, he already saved me. Obviously, he was just joking with
Yeah.
me, but that feeling was so amazing. So that's on my list. Skydiving, absolutely. I don't think I would do it again, but if I would do something like push my really out of the comfort zone, it would be skydiving. What about you, Nature Call?
So I've done skydiving. Uh, it was a different experience for me. I told the guy at the bottom that, hey, I'm kind of like a little bit scared of heights. So to surprise me up there, because if you listen to me do one, two, three, I'll change my mind up there. So We get up there, and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Okay, let's just count till three, and we'll figure it out if you want to do it or not." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, that sounds good." He's like, "But let's just sit on the edge and let's just figure it out. I just want you to see it. If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it." I was like, "Okay." At that time,
You
you're
didn't
like,
find that
I think he's
suspicious?
quoting. Yeah, he's just like, "Let's just see." Okay, he said one, the two never came.
Yeah.
One, we were gone. I was like, one, two, and then in midair, bro, no jokes. We all know like multiple languages. I'm telling you, I must have abused it in 5 and 6 languages, said everything I had, right, onto him. And when I came down, I kissed the ground and I told him, "I'm really sorry. I just abused you like crazy for like a solid minute or two at least." And he's like, "Oh, it's fine. I could tell that you were jittery and you were really scared. But how was it?" I was like, "It was amazing after I got done yelling at you." Because I was so scared.
Yeah.
But it was really fun, and he likes to do things. So it wasn't like it was a smooth, easy thing. He's doing like figurines with me, and I'm like, "I'm scared. Can you not take a somersault or something?" And he's like, "Wait." He's like, "I don't think you're ever gonna come back." I said, "I will never come back." He was like, "That's what I want you to enjoy it." So, but that's not the most dangerous thing I've done. It's something nice. I was happy to do it, to just put it off my checklist. There is something I did which was really, really scary. So I really like to learn about cultures and people living out in the wilderness, and basically being with tribal people who actually are very isolated and are not connected
Mm.
with the current world that we live in. So the I don't know if I'll say I won't do it again, um, but the last one definitely scared me. So I was in Nagaland, and we were with this tribe. We had visited 4 tribes, but the fifth tribe was quite isolated. It took about 11 and a half hours to get there, to just cover 120 kilometers. There's no road. It's just like um, a seabed, and you're driving over for like 5 and 10 kilometers an hour to get to this place. And they literally, till like 20 years ago, used to eat humans. So they had
Mm.
skulls of humans, they had skulls of cows and buffaloes. So just
Mm.
recently they stopped eating, and I was very curious. I
Mm.
am that person who they have like tattoos all over, and I'm curious to learn more about their culture. I met their king, um, and they were making guns and other things, which we would think is illegal, but it's quite legal there, and everything was quite normal. It said, and I didn't want to try any or dabble into it. Also, I was like, "Thank you, just saw it. I would rather go the other way." But I got to learn a lot. Like it
Mm.
was just living very simple, but very scary. And I think we had gone at one place. We were a bit worried that they um, might be risky for us. So at first time in my life, had to create a plan B of if something goes off, what are the exits to get out of this village safely. So that was exciting. Um, but I don't think as I'm growing older, I'm getting
Doesn't become
this
a hobby.
adventure side of me is slowing down. Yes, this adventure of me is like, I probably should go for safer things. I think skydiving is easier compared to this
Yeah.
tribal adventure that I really like to do. I don't know why I like to do it, but it's fun, um, and you get to really appreciate life.
Mhm.
Just your breath that you take every day. It just you value it a lot more. So
There are
that's
survival camps as well. A friend of mine, he goes now survival camp, like 10 days, just with a group, and you get a training, like 3 days training. What you do in the wilderness, you have nothing. You have to do everything by yourself with a group, and that's it. There's no expert there, and I think this is, I mean the earliest help is 24 hours away, and I think there he said like they're free adventure offering, like who can you can do that somewhere in Africa, somewhere in the Philippines, but
cool. Okay.
and it sounded really crazy, but I think that's also really challenging because there you really deal with the nature because you don't know what can happen there, right? I mean,
Yeah, you don't know what you're eating. You don't know which are poisonous. That
exactly.
is actually
Animals, exactly. Yeah. So also,
that's a great thing.
yeah, and
I don't think I can.
he's really interesting person. I would love that you guys meet him because he always tries to push him to an extreme in my view. I'm not, but he's really like he just did the marathon, and now he said he needs the new extreme. So it always needs to be extremer.
Okay.
And another person also, which I know, he climbed the Mount Everest. His hobby is climbing mountains, and this is crazy because this is kind of the end goal mainly for mountains climbing, right?
Yeah.
Going up there because you
Yeah.
start with other mountains. And he said, I mean, first of all, it costs a lot to go there. I mean, it's crazy. You cannot imagine, he said. I mean, you can buy a house, basically,
Oh wow.
or
Okay, I
a
did not
really
know it was that
expensive
expensive.
car or something. It's like, okay,
Okay.
if I'm right. I mean, maybe, but he said it's a lot. And second is people die. And he said on his excursion also, unfortunately, someone passed away because of these conditions. So it's really dangerous, he said. So their hobbies really, I think, really would be cool to do it if you think like, yeah, I want to climb a mountain, but you really, I mean, if you think about you can die, you really, really,
Mm.
really need to be passionate, right? And he had family and
Yeah.
everything, so I was really like impressed in a way that he did that. I mean, but it's also crazy in a way, right? So I mean, there are hobbies out there. I don't know if I would do that. Yeah.
I think none of us are that. Well, I can say for myself, I don't think I have it in me to do mountains, but um, or even such survival camps. But it's really nice to meet people and get tips and experiences for them, or like pictures or their
Mm.
videos when they share. It looks so beautiful. I had one of my friends. She does deep ocean diving, and she has shared pictures and videos being under. Like she went to Antarctica, and oh my god, I've never seen such beautiful videos and pictures. And she was like, "Well, I hope you're not getting tired. I've sent you like 200." I'm like, I'm enjoying everything. I've never seen animals being in this
Yeah.
color, or like how the ice looks from under. It was just
Mm.
beautiful. And then she's interacting with, she's a complete sea animals or ocean animals person. She's interacting with the animals. She's swimming with the whales. And I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful.
Mhm.
The amount of training and experience that they all have. And she herself, I feel, is one of the best. And she says she's not the best. She's been doing it for the last 18, 20 years. And they have a leader who has been doing it for the last 35, 40 years. And they
Mm.
keep switching leaders at times, but he is the almighty leader. If something goes wrong, he knows how to um, figure out how to keep it safe. And they've
Yeah.
never had anyone pass away in their group,
Oh, that's good.
which is amazing for so many years of excursions. And she 6 months she works, and 6 months she's on excursions, just enjoying life. And just I'm grateful to know such people. So you learn a lot from them.
Mm.
But I don't think I have it in me to go in that cold weather. I don't even think we can visit somebody's where they're going home. It's gonna be so cold. Let it get warmer at your place. We'll come there someday. And it's not even that cold as the excursions that my friends are taking. But I think I'll just say, being the somewhat the oldest or close to being old, I like warmer weather. But anything else? Any last thing? Oh, actually, let's do this. If What is one hobby? I'm just curious. What is one hobby that you guys tried when you were in your younger years, and you never thought you would try it, or you were surprised that you went, or you were excited about that you did when you were young?
Probably swimming for me. I actually took a bunch of swimming classes when I was young because my mom wanted me to be like multi-talented. So like, swimming, piano, guitar, stuff like that. And I ended up quitting all of them because I'm like, Mom, this is not what I love to do. I don't want to do this. But as I got older, I'm like, I'm kind of glad she put me through that because I at least learned some of the basics of, let's say, from swimming or piano that I'm like still able to play, still able to do. And with swimming in particular, I stopped taking swimming classes before I think high school, but I just felt like I lost my ability to swim because I think a couple of years ago when I started doing traveling, there were some like resort areas and I tried to swim in one of the hotel like pools and I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to float. I just kept sinking. So I was like, oh no, I don't even know how to do this. At that moment, I was like, damn, I kind of wish I still remember swimming. But like several months afterwards, I don't know, for some reason, I guess my muscle memory clicked and I figured out how to like float and swim for a little bit, like short distances. So I think swimming would be something that I would really love to get back into again because I think it's just a fun activity and it's something that I would feel proud of myself for being able to do because not many people know how to swim, but you're one of those people that's like, I know something that other people don't. I think it like gives that kind of satisfaction, but also like it's satisfying to do it too because like a lot of physical activities that I mentioned earlier, it just takes off a lot of pressure. I think it gives me like clarity and like a different like peacefulness and happiness when I'm into that activity. So that would be my opinion on it.
Okay. No, I kind of if you want swimming, I got you. Let it get warmer. I could definitely help you out if you want.
Thanks.
I love swimming. We could start with the basic, and then if you want to learn different strokes or like different styles, I got you covered. Um, I just met my last year, my bucket list. All my life, I wanted to swim with the sharks. I know when I said that, I saw the eye rays from the porta potty, but I don't know why. Sorry, I just love fishes. I don't know how to explain it, but sharks are just beautiful, and I feel they're quite misunderstood. So I was traveling in Belize, and there's a big marine um, forest underwater. And initially, I swam with nurse sharks and leopard sharks, which are not really that dangerous. But when you're swimming with about 140, of them, you might smell like fish, so you have to be careful. And they're about double my size, so it's beautiful. Um, and exciting. But the most beautiful experience that I got to have, which I was so grateful and so happy after years of about like 15 years of following sharks and knowing how to behave in the water with them, and got multiple trainings, I got to see 6 tiger sharks at a distance of about, I would say, about 50 to 60 feet. And I was able to have an eye contact with the mother tiger shark. And this is just open in the ocean. And I thoroughly loved it. It was the most beautiful experience I had. My guide was a bit scared. I knew exactly how to behave around them so that they don't come towards us. We have to act like we are as big or bigger than them, and it was very scary. Half of my heart was scared, and the other half was super excited. So definitely don't worry, poopy head. We won't take you to the sharks, but we'll do the swimming in like a swimming pool, like we would do in New York. But I have an adventurous side who just loves to do interesting things. Hopefully, my parents don't see this podcast so that they don't realize the things I've done because I just tell them I go snorkeling. Uh, they will get a bit worried. But but the thing that was quite surprising for me when I was younger was I don't know how, but somehow I fell into making sculptures, and I was always a complete sporty kid growing up. So I never knew I had a artsy side. And then in our school, they force us to if you don't have an art thing, you'll fail the class and things like that. So you had to pick something between either painting or sculptures. And there was a very, very cute girl in the sculptures class. And I was like, sculpture it is. Because I was like, you know me. So I was like, Poopy head was like shaking her head. You know, really? So, I didn't do the painting. Also, I think I had few of my friends, they all went to painting, and I was like, I don't want painting. Let's go sculpture. So I did sculpture for about 6 years. So I know how to make statues, and never will use that skill in my life. But it's a very interesting thing that I went and tried.
I just had a team event and we did pottery, so I did a cup. Yeah,
We could do that
it
together. We can
was
make
really fun.
we
It
can
was,
first make the pots and the bowls,
you
and then
wanna?
we can fill the pot with bears,
I
and
can,
then we could be like, cheers.
I can
And I'll
show.
swim in it.
You swim it. You
I'll practice my swimming.
Show you the result. You can see.
That
Whoa.
is pretty, brother.
It's not.
Let's
Nice.
take a smiley face.
It is.
He's French.
It's my
He's a.
yeah.
Really.
You got a mustache.
So to I guess to wrap up that in my
Wait.
childhood.
What's yours? What's your
Yeah,
childhood?
exactly. To my in my childhood, I switched around a bit, but there are two hobbies I did for several years. One was video games, and yes, I liked it. I'm still doing it, and not as much anymore as I used to. But and I don't talk about those violence video games or whatever. I mean, they're like I love Pokemon video games, or Gran Turismo, like car racing stuff, or old school Zelda. And funny is why I came into video games. Believe it or not, my aunt showed me.
Okay.
She was a big video game, like the
Oh,
old Nintendo. You
yes.
have to so
Mario and pinball.
that stuff, and she showed me that, and I loved it, and I loved it, and I still will show my kids this. I mean, I think it's a good experience. The right games, obviously. And the
Yes.
second one was soccer, as I mentioned before. I was playing a lot of soccer. It was my passion. My free time, I always went out, played with friends, and also joined a team, and became higher and higher in different ages and difficulties, and yeah, that was my passion. In between, I tried basketball, I tried karate. I did it for a while, but I always went back to soccer. And this is also something which I'm missing here. This is not really we call it football, by the way, in Europe, not soccer.
Yes.
But this is not really something is really common here, right? If so, they play more in a smaller field, like 5 versus 5. But I really miss those times where I played like 11 versus 11 on a big field. And as soon as I'm going on a place they have a soccer field, I will be back on the field for sure. Yeah.
I can see you. You're really, really good in soccer. We see that on the sand courts for a different game. But you're fast, and I think even you, Pupiad, you also play soccer, right?
No, I don't play soccer.
Interesting. Okay. Then you and me can watch from the stands, and while the party is like crushing it. But yeah, it'd be kind of fun to see you in action. I think one or two other friends that I met are really good. It'd be fun to kind of see you play the game and all your moves. You know,
Yeah.
I think we win.
All right. Any last
Uh,
words? Anything you want to say?
no, I think this has been really fun, and we should probably in a future segment discuss travel, because I know we all like to travel and do multiple different travel destinations, domestic and international. But we can do that another time. But I enjoyed discussing this. How
Mm,
about you guys?
absolutely agree.
Really? That's
That's a,
I'm just
we
like one
should.
thumbs up.
yeah, yeah. No, not two. Huh? He's like,
Just
eh,
one.
man.
No words had to be said. Just one thumbs up.